Deuce McAllister, the Saints have to learn that defense has to be elite all the time, not just the second half. Deuce ain't lying here, ladies and gentlemen. Deuce is not lying at all. The defense in the first half against the Bears was putrid. It was really bad. Tyson Bagent did whatever he wanted to. At one point, the Bears were on pace for like 540 yards of offense. I mean, the Bears were they were putting on a show in the first half. Now, I thought about this. You know, we're filming this a couple days after the game. I don't know if it's because there wasn't much tape on Bagent and his ability to just use his legs just kind of caught the Saints off guard. I mean, he was really, if you watch the game, you understand, but he was everywhere. Like I haven't seen a quarterback run around like that in a long time. And it was the same thing over and over again. It was Bagent either beating us with his feet or just dumping the ball off in the flats and a ton of yards after the catch. So without really breaking down the defensive tape, I would assume the defense was just playing back and they were saying, we're going to force Tyson Bagent to beat us. We're going to force him to throw in some, we're going to kind of drop back coverage a little bit and see if he can beat us up and down the field and wait for him to make a mistake. On one hand, that worked, right? 5 turnovers. On the other hand, it allowed the Bears to rack up a ton of yards in the first half. Now, just like most games, we made the adjustment at halftime and completely stifled the Bears in the second half. I think they had 3 points. They had like 130 yards of offense in the second half, and the Saints were able to get the win. It was concerning to start the game, but I was telling people I had faith the entire time. I said, we are going to make the adjustment. I guarantee you. I don't know why the game plan wasn't better in the first half. I don't know. Like I said, I would just have to guess. I would just have to theorize. But it is good to know that we can make that adjustment defensively. I've turned the corner on this. I know for a long time I've been preaching, get rid of Allen, get rid of Carmichael. When I see stuff like that from Dennis Allen, that's when I know, like, man, he's so good as a defensive coordinator. He's so good as a defensive coach. Why do we have him stuck in this role that he's not successful at? Dennis Allen could be, this is controversial yet brave, Dennis Allen could be the best defensive coordinator in the NFL. But unfortunately, right now we have him as a head coach. He could be the best defensive coordinator in the NFL. Number one, top guy. But we're asking him to do something he just can't do. It's unfortunate. It really is. Because what's going to end up happening is he's going to eventually be fired. And he's going to go be a defensive coordinator for somebody else. And he's going to be the best DC in the game. That's exactly what's going to happen. I wish we could just figure out a way to either... And this is how I came around on it. This is how I came around on the whole thing. I think we keep Allen. If we keep Allen, we have to go get a absolute stud star, 10 out of 10, 5-star, top tier, S tier offensive coordinator. And we go get that coordinator. Get him. And then we hire some kind of like analytical department, some kind of, MIT, whatever, whoever. And we let them sit in the booth and we let them feed Dennis the percentages and all that for fourth downs and 2-point conversions and field goals and whatever else. I think if we do that, if we have that 2-pronged approach of offensive coordinator genius who can take care of the offense, scheme up everything, and we have some kind of an analytical department that can help Dennis with those decisions, and we let him be a defensive coordinator in the head coaching position, I think we can win like that. I would rather do that than fire Dennis Allen and lose what he brings to the table for us defensively. That's where I'm at right now. I know I've been on the fire Dennis Allen train, and I understand that. I wouldn't blame anyone for wanting him gone, but I think when you see these kind of adjustments week in, week out, and how good the defense has been over the last 5-6 years, he does provide serious value there. He's not going to take a demotion. No one does that. He's not going to be demoted from the head coaching to the DC. So if meeting in the middle is getting Pete Carmichael and getting him the hell out of here and getting a really good offensive coordinator and getting some other group that can handle the tough decisions, I'm okay with that.
Deuce, we always talk about it, whether it's pretty or ugly, we'll take a victory no matter what. But, man, really impressive for this black and gold squad. Able to get 5 takeaways. Obviously, wish the margin of victory was a little bit greater, but pretty.
Where are they recording this? I mean, is this in the middle of a tornado? This is some. Obviously, it's at the game, but man, this is a raucous crowd.
Impressive day from the defensive standpoint on that aspect, and also shout out to Paulson Adebo for having a heck of an outing.
Game, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't want it to be that ugly though.
Right.
You talk about it, you'll definitely take it just because of how hard it is to win in the NFL. But I mean, man, that was not very good overall. Play by this team. And what's interesting is you had 5 turnovers.
Right.
How was this game only a 7-point victory for this team? And yes, the missed field goal hurt you, but I mean, it still should have been.
Yeah, I mean, it's just crazy because everyone's saying the same thing. Everyone's saying, and people were saying this when I was walking down the ramps leaving the Superdome, but it's just this team, it's just how they've been all season long. This has been the theme of the season. It's just the, one step forward, 2 steps backwards. We're good in the first half, we're bad in the second half. Our defense is good this game, our defense is bad the next game. Our offense is good this game, our offense is bad the next game. We're just so hot and cold. We're so up and down. It's baffling to watch. I mean, as a fan, it really is, because you just never know what you're going to get. We come on here all the time. We're like, all right, the Saints are going to, we hope they win. Will they win 6-0? Maybe. Will they win 44-41? Maybe. Who the hell knows? Will the defense be incredible? Maybe for the first half, or maybe for the second half, or maybe for the whole game. I don't know. We don't have an identity because we don't have a scheme, because we don't have consistency. It's wild. I mean, it really is. Like Michael Thomas, he can be really good every game this season, and then right now, this week, boom, no catches. Why? Who the hell knows? Rashid Shaheed, no catches against Green Bay. Why? Who the hell knows? Alvin Kamara, on pace to break the reception record. Then all of a sudden, let's just give him 4 catches a game. Alvin Kamara, 9 carries. Whatever. Who knows? Who knows why? Just complete roll of the dice, complete coin flip every single quarter. Not just every week. Like the NFL is a week-to-week league. We are a quarter-to-quarter team.
More than that, one of the things that this defense is going to have to figure out is how can we start faster. Back-to-back weeks where you gave up a lot of points early on. I think they gave up 3 in the second half. And so you played really, really good in spurts. 32 rushing attempts, 156 yards. That's not very good, and a lot of those were by the quarterback. And so, they made some adjustments. You did some different things. But at the end of the day, look, man, you got to figure out, hey, if we're an elite unit, let's be elite all the time. You
do kind of got to wonder. I mean, I don't know the answer to this question, but you do have to wonder, like, what was the flip that was switched, or the switch that was flipped? The switch that was flipped. Excuse me, there. The switch that was flipped in the second half. Like, what was it that could not have been game planned in? What was it that couldn't have been schemed in? Because it was a drastic difference in the first half defense and the second half defense. What was it? What were they missing? What were they missing leading into the game? What did they miss in game prep? What did they miss in scheme and all that stuff during the week that they found out in the first 2 quarters? You got to wonder those kind of things. I mean, I think there is, and this is a good, like, this is how I would categorize the Saints, is that there is a lot of positives with the negatives. Like, yeah, it is a negative that you got dominated in the first half, offense versus defense. It is a negative that you let Tyson Bagent do whatever he wanted. But it is a positive that you could go into halftime, make a small tweak, and completely shut them out in the second half. How it happens, why it happens, I don't know. And it was the same against Indy. Second half, we were better. First half, we were giving up chunk plays, letting them do whatever they wanted. Gardner Minshew was all over the place. Boom, second half, different story. I don't know why. And Deuce is right. It does need to be 4 quarters. Because you can get away with that against Tyson Bagent. You can get away with that against Gardner Minshew. You can get away with that against C.J. Stroud and Jordan Love and Ryan Tannehill. and Baker Mayfield and Bryce Young and Desmond Ridder. You can't get away with that against Dak Prescott and Jalen Hurts and the better teams. You can't get away with that against Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson. Like this is a prime example. And I've been saying this, that our schedule is easy. And people are like, it's not easy. No game's easy in the NFL. There are levels to this, ladies and gentlemen. You can't go out there and say we'll get gouged in the first half and we'll make an adjustment. See how that goes against the Dolphins. See what that adjustment looks like against the Chiefs. See how that adjustment works out against the Bengals. Because if the Saints defense, if this version that played the first half against the Bears, if that defense wouldn't play Miami, it's 35-0 at halftime. And then I don't care what kind of adjustment you got. You're not coming back from that. If you roll that defense out there against Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, enjoy 42-7. So even though it's good we can adjust, it would be better, like Deuce said, if we got into this rhythm as a defense of being elite for 4 quarters.
Elite all the time. Offensively, you were able to get in the red zone. You were able to punch the ball in. You were able to kind of solidify some of the stuff that you wanted to do. Now it's just, can you clean up some of the other mishaps that you're having? Some of the 3 and outs to start the game. You're getting a first down. You can't get a second first down. To start the third quarter, you can't get a first down at all. And so you're starting to look. This is the 4th game. You're over 300 yards. 4th game, I think you're over 20-plus points. So you're starting to turn it around offensively. But guess what? There's more meat on the bone. There's more meat on the bone. And so
that is, again, positives and negatives. It's a negative that we had +5 in the turnover margin. We only won by 7 points. But it is a positive that we've got so much left. We have so much more in the tank. This team has another gear. Will they find it? I don't know. That, not every team, you don't always find that next gear, whether you're a player or a team. That's kind of what happens, is that there's like Vince Young, or just random players. Vince Young comes in to Tennessee. He's a rookie of the year. He looks like he's got another gear, and he just never finds it. And then he, falls out of the NFL. Like that's what happens to busts. Teams are like that. The Bills, for the last 2-3 years, they've seemed like they got another gear, and they seem like they're ready to take that step and win the AFC and go to the Super Bowl. But they just haven't found that gear. And now it looks like the Bills' Super Bowl window might be over. It looks like that now they're regressing. So it's a question mark. We have shown, like in Indy, we have shown that we have another gear offensively. Defensively, we've shown we have another gear too, like what we played like in New England. We've just got to find it. Can we get to that next gear? And can we stay there? Can we be consistent? Because if so, we have a lot of the season left. And I'll tell you this. If we are winning these games like this, and it leads us to figuring out who we are and being consistent and being ready for the second half of the season, I'll take that. Going into week 10, going into the bye, going into the Atlanta game, we're getting real close to the back half of the season. And the back half of the season is when you got to be firing on all cylinders. It's when you got to be ready to roll, ready to go, make the playoff push. It's when Dallas or Seattle or San Francisco or whoever is coming to town, you're hosting a playoff game, and you got to be ready. You can't have growing pains. You can't be figuring things out. You can't escape with the win. You can't do all these cliches we've had for this entire season. You can't do that. It's starting to get to the point now to where you can't just be improving. Like the time for improving, growing pains, rust, miscommunication, all those buzzwords, the time for that is running out. We need to see the true New Orleans Saints team. We need to see that team for multiple weeks in a row. Because if the Saints can find that next gear, I still believe, I think that the top end of this team can compete in the NFC. I really believe that. I think we can. The question I have is, do we find that next gear?
So I love to see this team go out there and play a complete one because so far they haven't done it yet.
Deuce, you talk about more meat on the bone. It was nice to see Chris Olave have a bounce-back day. Decent performance. Had 8 targets, 6 receptions, 46 yards, and
How crazy is that? Like, that's a bounce-back day. 6 catches for 40-something yards. That's a bounce-back day for our star wide receiver. That shows you how just like up and down and how just wild this whole season has been. Players just randomly go missing, randomly don't have a catch, randomly don't have a target. Our best player, some would say our best offensive player, definitely our best, one of our best receivers, I think everyone would agree with. We're celebrating a bounce-back performance of 6 catches for 40-something yards. That's when you know things are disjointed. When that seems like a huge step forward, a huge win. And I think it's fine. Like six catches, 40-something yards and a win, fine. Whatever. Like we don't have to. I said this last week. He doesn't have to have 120 yards. He doesn't have to have 140 yards. He doesn't have to carry the offense. But it just shows you kind of how the season is being framed and how these games are being framed. You come out of them, there's just as many questions as answers after a Saints game. We got to win. But are we how many positives can we take out of the win? It definitely is good on a micro level. We got this win. But man, is it just me or was there a lot of questions raised during those 4 quarters?
Score, he admitted this week he's been in a slump. Hopefully this helps bust it. We're still waiting for that big bust out game from him, but certainly take today's outing.
Well, you'll definitely take today's outing. I think, there's some more opportunities for him out there on 1/3 down. He's got to sink. It's zone coverage, and it's like he's going away from the football. The ball is a little low. Quarterback's trying to protect you where he doesn't want you to get hit, up high. But at the same time, those are the little things, and I think that was the first drive of the 3rd quarter. And so, there's some more opportunities for him. He and Mike T on the screen pass, and so, just understanding, hey, leverage and where you have to get once a defender is defending you a certain way.
The Saints are an interesting team. I mean, they really are. There's no team. I don't think there's a team like the Saints in the NFL. I had to really look at it, but because we are not a bad team. We're not the same as the Giants or Carolina, or Arizona. We're not those teams. We're not. In the same breath. We're not Baltimore. We're not Cincinnati. We're not the Eagles. We're not the Lions. But we show flashes of it. We do show flashes that we're a really good offense, like in Indy. And some of the plays against the Bears. The touchdown pass to Olave, that's Derek Carr. That's a franchise quarterback. That throw, him moving Olave away from the defensive back, that right there, when I saw that, I was like, whoa, that's an elite throw. That's a really, really, really good throw. That's a guy who can go win you a playoff game. That's what that is. But then you see a bunch of checkdowns. There's flashes there. I think the Saints, we are in a situation now where we have to take the next step. The team has to take the next step in the next 2 weeks. Or the next 3, I guess, if you count the bye. Because that Minnesota game, you're getting Josh Dobbs in his first start. I know he won coming off the bench. But Josh Dobbs in their first start. Then you get a bye week. Atlanta's got a bye week. And you can kind of clinch the division. You beat Atlanta in Atlanta, you're in the driver's seat for the division. So we have to figure it out quick. I think we will. My faith is still in this team. My faith is still in 11 wins. It's crazy. Up and down, roller coaster. The highest of highs and the lowest of lows. And I'm sitting here, I'm telling you, 11 wins. That's where we're at. 11 wins is what I'm looking for. 11 wins is what I'm predicting, what I'm feeling. The Saints got to meet me there. They got to meet me there. We have to reach that next gear. Let me know in the comments below what you think, ladies and gentlemen. Is Deuce right? What's going on with the defense? Why can't we get 4 solid quarters? Why do we need the adjustments? Let me know. Sound off in the comments below. I'll be down there reading and replying. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you for making this the fastest growing sports channel in New Orleans. Thank you very much. Every single day we come on here and do what everyone else is afraid to even attempt to do, with the greatest analysis and coverage on all of YouTube. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.